Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome back to the Art of Badassery's Mindfucks with Mahara, where we don't do surface level self help or performative healing. Instead, we do truth, raw, liberating, sometimes uncomfortable truth, the kind that shakes something loose inside you. I'm your host, Mahara, and today we're stepping into perhaps one of the most disorienting but sacred portals of transformation, the identity interruption. Okay, if you've ever felt like you're living a life that technically looks good, but secretly feels off, kind of like you've outgrown your own skin, you're probably standing right in the middle of it. The place where who you were is dissolving and who you are becoming hasn't fully arrived yet. It's that sticky in between, the void, the moment when your inner critic loses her script and your soul starts writing a new one. The inner critic doesn't like this part because she craves predictability, definition, and a set role. She's the voice that says, "This is who you are, sweetheart. Just stay consistent. Don't rock the boat." But here's the thing, growth demands some level of chaos. Expansion demands death, not literal death, people, but ego death, the kind that dismantles your self image one truth at a time. And here's the paradox, the more self aware you become, the more identities you realize you've built just to survive. Like the achiever, the peacemaker, the caretaker, the rebel, the healer, the fixer, the strong one, the funny one. Every identity began as a form of protection, a shield against rejection, disappointment, or danger. But when that protection becomes performative, you lose the ability to hear your authentic voice. You're living on autopilot, fulfilling roles you never consciously agreed to play. The identity interruption is your soul saying enough, right? I'm done with that. It's the moment you drop the act, rip off the crown that doesn't fit you, and start questioning the script. And honestly, it's terrifying because when you stop performing who you think you are, you have to face the silence of not knowing. I want to tell you a story. Years ago, I had a client, we'll call her Jenna. Jenna was the definition of high functioning, six-figure business. Perfect relationship, did Pilates in the morning, had all kinds of green juice during the day, color coded calendar, everything. But when she chatted with me, she looked empty. She said things like, "I'm just disappearing, even though I'm doing everything right." And I got to tell you, her story was my story. I didn't feel like I was disappearing, but I just didn't feel right. I was pretending, and some of you know the story. My daughter called me out on my behavior one day, years ago, and I was shocked to realize that I was for performing in the corporate world, and it wasn't me at all, and it was the beginning of my transformation. But anyway, like my client Jenna, I had built an entire empire out of image management, right? I wasn't living, neither was she. I was curating what I thought the world wanted. And every move I made was about maintaining an identity that I didn't even want anymore. So in the session, I asked her, if you weren't trying to prove you're okay, what would you do differently? And she absolutely froze. She got very emotional. And you know what she said? "I'd rest." And there it was. The truth her inner critic had buried under productivity and perfectionism. That moment was her identity interruption. My moment was when my daughter looked at me and I felt shame because she said, "Mom, I can't believe you just did that." Tune into another session and I'll tell you all about it if you don't already know the story. But those are both examples of moments when an identity interruption happened. And here's the deal, folks. When you stop identifying with your doing, you start remembering your being. And this process isn't about reinventing yourself, I promise. It's about unbecoming the version that was born from survival instead of soul. But don't be fooled. The inner critic will fight like hell to keep you in costume. She's going to whisper things like, "You're being irresponsible, you're being selfish. Oh my God, how unfocused and lazy can you get?" She's going to say anything to make you slip back into the performance because that's where she feels safest. And yet, underneath that fear, something ancient is waking up, a quieter, more grounded part of you that remembers she doesn't require proof to feel powerful. And that part, that's your shadow queen stirring. She is not here to perform. She's here to reign. Simple. She's here to reign with truth, with silence, and with sovereignty. We're going to meet her more fully soon. When December rolls in, I'm going to introduce her a little bit more fully. But right now, her energy is whispering through the cracks. Stop performing, start remembering. And that's what this episode is about. So, how do you actually interrupt the identity your inner critic has built? Well, step one, you have to recognize the different roles that you've created. So write down the top 3 labels that you cling to. And this isn't job titles. These are the emotional roles that I'm referring to. So maybe it's the dependable one, or the nurturer, or the high achiever, or my all-time favorite, the good girl. Then ask yourself, who gave me this role? Who benefits from me staying in it? Now, sometimes your identity serves other people more than it serves your truth. And when you realize that, oh my God, it can hit really hard because it means your strength might be somebody else's comfort zone. But as always, awareness is liberation. Once you see the role, you can stop auditioning for it. Just because you've played it most of your life doesn't mean you have to agree to play it for another season. All right, step 2, listen for the script. Every role has a story attached to it. I'm valuable when I'm needed. I'm safe when I'm quiet. I'm lovable when I'm perfect. When I have sessions with clients, another way that I phrase it is, what's the story you're telling yourself? What's the story that goes on in your head that you won't share with me in this moment? Okay, those are your inner critic mantras, and she's going to defend them like sacred scripture. But you can interrupt her mid-sentence. When she says, that's not who you are, you can respond, maybe not anymore. Up until now. So that single phrase is revolutionary, maybe not anymore, because it opens a door where a wall used to be. All right, step 3, write the breakup letter. And I know this may sound dramatic, but drama is sometimes divine. I invite you to write a letter to the identity that no longer fits you. For example, dear overachiever me, thanks for your service, babe. You helped me survive. But your obsession with control is suffocating my soul. I'm choosing rest and joy now. In other words, thanks, but no thanks. Read it out loud, burn it, bury it, dance it out, whatever makes it real for you. But ritual does really support growth, and ritual can make this very real. All right, step 4, rewrite the vows. Now that you've divorced your false identity, you need new vows. So choose 3 words that describe who you're becoming, not who you've been. Here's some examples. Rooted, radiant, real. You know I love alliteration. Wild, wise, worthy. Grounded, grateful, goddamn alive. Have fun with this and write them on your mirror. Yes, I said that. Use lipstick. Write them on your mirror. Speak them to yourself daily. Let your nervous system learn this new language. Talk about this all the time. Language is powerful. So guys, choose language that really frickin' excites you and becomes your new identity. All right, step 5, sit in the silence. And truthfully, this is the hardest part. This is the void. The liminal space between who you were and who you're becoming. It's uncomfortable as hell because there's no identity to hide behind. But that silence, that's the Shadow Queen's temple. It's where she teaches you that power doesn't come from doing, but from being. She doesn't rush to fill the silence. She listens. And in that listening, she hears the truth that can't be faked. Okay, I want to pause here and say something that might sting. Not everyone will celebrate your transformation. It's true. Some people were in love with your performance, not your truth. When you change the role, you threaten their story also. And that's why this work takes courage. And it's the kind of courage that doesn't need an audience. So, if you're in the middle of your own identity interruption right now, hear me. You're not lost. You're in sacred transition. You're shedding borrowed names so your soul can breathe in its own language again. Your inner critic will keep trying to drag you back to the familiar, because that's what she does. Not because she's evil or just a bitch, but because she's scared. She was created to keep you safe, and safety feels like sameness. But sameness kills evolution, and that's the paradox. So, when you catch yourself missing the old you, the predictable you, the validated you, the I want you to whisper this. She kept me alive, but I'm ready to live. And that's a turning point. That's when you start hearing whispers of your shadow queen again, the sovereign within, the one who doesn't hustle for belonging because she remembers she already belongs. This is the moment she begins her walk toward the throne, quiet, deliberate, unshakable. Let's recap your challenge for this week. Spot your roles, catch your critic's script, break up with your outdated identity and have fun with that. Choose new vows and sit in the silence long enough to meet your shadow queen. And when the discomfort hits, remember, it's not confusion, it's creation. Because you can't become who you're meant to be until you release who you were told to be. That's the identity interruption, the end of performance and the beginning of presence. Oh my God, I'm getting the goosebumps. Next month, we're going to dive deeper into this descent into the Shadow Queen's domain, where silence becomes your throne and truth becomes your crown. Okay, if this resonated with you and you want to rise into your next level, I invite you to check out my website, www.mindfulnesswithmahara.com, and look at my Trinity Transformation. This is my mini mastermind. It goes on a regular basis, and this is where your inner critic learns to surrender control and your shadow queen begins her quiet return. My name is Mahara. Drop a review, drop a comment, share this with a friend that you think would benefit from it, and I'll see you next week. Here's to you.